Welcome back, guys, to another video. This video will be going over my weekly analysis of gold. As you can see, we are on the gold daily time frame. So let's just dive right into it. So again, we're on the daily time frame. As we can see, the gold had this uptrend on the daily time frame. We broke this trend line last week on this uh, major sell-off. She had a nice sell-off last week, but you can also see that this was a major level of resistance before gold took off in its uptrend, and we are now retesting this old resistance as new support. So right here could be a major level for you to see some buying pressure to come back into gold to try to potentially push back to the upside from this level here. We also have another level here at the 1720 range. Go on the daily time frame, we can see it. We have this level here, and we can grab this wick around 1700. Also have a level of support in this range. So the price could potentially break this level and come down and find this level of support as well before gold turns and resumes its uptrend. So we can see that we had a double bottom here a few months back in February and March. The market had this double bottom and we've been pushing up an uptrend ever since. We have now broken this uptrend again. Now we are retesting our current level of support, which is old resistance. So if you look to the left, so my analysis is here that gold is going to find support here, and we're going to push up to at least retest this neckline here. So we can see gold coming back around to 1870 to really test this and then continue to the downside. Right now we are holding at this level of support only for our time frame. This was our major area of support that was previously broken on this dump to the downside. So I can see price pushing back here potentially before we continue to move lower, or she could just range around in this area around 1800, 1820s. She can range here and then continue to the downside because we do have this major level of support that came off of the previous double bottom to push in this, couple of month uptrend. Now, if we do go back to the daily time frame and we run fibs from our low here to the high of this wick, we can see that we're sitting around the 61.8 level of retracement on this overall move. Out of the way, and we can see if we reject here, we have plenty of upside targets at 0, -27, -61.8 for gold to reverse here and then go to find these highs. As you can see, we also have these levels kind of matching up with the Fibonacci levels as well. We have an area right above 127. have these highs here matching up with negative 160, with 61.8. We have this retest again, this high here at 0 for pushes to the upside. So if we get rejection here, I can see gold pushing all the way back up to retest the highs back at the 2075, 2076 area. Not within this week, but overall long term to continue its uptrend with movement. This could be long term positions that we could potentially see. If we do break these weekly lows, which we would have to break this level 1676 to say that gold is now in a overall downtrend. Yes, we had this level here coming up. We had a little broken area, here if we ran our 1-2 running through with our trend line. But if you can see here, we grab these bottoms, have a 1-2 running through here, lows here. We also have a 1-2 running through here, which would line up with gold coming here to hit 1676, and then possibly rejecting to the upside from touching these lows one more time. Like I said, we would have to break this overall uptrend move and breaking these lows of 1676 before we find any further downside on gold. So we can just be mindful of that. This is a major level of price for gold to sit on as support. If we breach that support, we do have this overall trend line that she could struggle to get below. But if we break below this and 1676, I then see us retesting this level and then continuing for the downside, and the next target level would be around this area of support at 1450, which would be another nice trade to the downside, another really nice swing to create new lows in this downward trend that we have started getting in this selling pressure as we are creating, lower highs, lower lows off of these higher time frames as well. So just right now, my overall bias is that we are still bullish on gold, even though we did take this dump last week, but we are retesting this area of broken resistance now as new support. So we could see a rally off of this 1750 area. We could get down into the 1776 to retest these lows one more time before rallying to the upside. But if we break these lows, then I could see us having further downside, as I mentioned, on the weekly time frame to find this area around 1450. We have a zone here. We have this area here, this zone here at the bodies in this wick at 1450. So this could be a nice potential area to hold, to take targets to if we get a collapse, below these prices. You definitely could take some entries here if the market broke, this level, the daily time frame. I would want to see the market pull up off this level and then breach it, and then you could take entry there to be safe. A target could be here, or at the 1676 lows would be a good target for this week to continue to downside selling off of this overall move that we had from last week. But right now, I am bullish. I think our goal will push up off of this level here and at least retest, this 1870 area before we find more downside potential. Uh, but if we do break this level, then we will continue down to at least 1676. And if we breach that 1451, uh, so right now, just stay well on the 4 hour H1, in daily time frame to look and see what the market is going to do. I would want to see some major bullish pressure coming in here on the 4 hour and 1 hour. We have a trend on the H1 here that the market could potentially push up to. So we have this level here. Of resistance. The market created this level of resistance around 1825. So gold could push up to here to retest this downward trend on the H1 before she continues to push down on the higher time frames as well. So we can see a potential push up into this H1 trend, retesting the trend line before she continues to spiral downhill. So we have to have bias both ways. Yes, I am overall bullish on gold because we had this major breakout on the daily time frame, but the overall trend right now after this high is that the market is, moving in a downtrend. But overall, on the, monthly time frame, gold is still bullish. We still have this trend here. We can go from this wick here, and we can have where the market came down and she hit here. She needs to get below this trend line again at 1676 before we find further downside. We still have this overall trend here, 1654 area in these wicks. So she could hit that and then continue up. But I feel if she breached this low, this major support here, then she will continue down to the 1450 area. So right now we have some bullish, momentum coming in on a daily time frame. We want to see price on the lower time frame reach this trend line, get a retest on the 15 or 5 minute, break this, get a retest on the 15 or 5 minute to continue up to hit this old level of now resistance here, but it was reached as support back here. So old support and the resistance. We find ourselves in a little squeeze in a little range here. We've been ranging 1, 2, 3 days. So I can see the market pushing back up in this range for the week, hitting this level, are coming back up to these highs before then the market then collapse back down to the downside. So that's just my view. This is how I look at the market. This is how I actively trade the market. I want to go in and I want to see the market on all time frames, all potential areas that the market could go find, levels to target as far as me taking profit. If I would take a buy here, this would be my, TP1 and TP2 back into these highs, TP3. But we have this major level of support that was broken on this, double top here off of this daily push to the downside, last week's drop. The market could potentially reach these highs again before we turn over, but we have some micro levels in here that the market could find, because if we drag this across, we have this area that was once resistance here. It broke, turned into support, came back under it, found it as resistance again. Scale over. Found support, broke, made it into resistance again. We got up to it, resistance, broke above it, and then that was the catalyst for this buy to continue to the upside. We got into this range here on the daily time frame. Got this upside range here, a daily time frame. She broke out, creating a lower low. Then this range pulled back, retested the highs. She dumped, made a double bottom, came up, retested, could not get back into these highs, and she's pushing down now off of a newfound lower high. So we still have, potential for gold to push down off of this trending move that she's still in a downtrend right now. But overall, on the weekly and monthly, gold is still very bullish. So this correction could get us into these lows here, and then we continue to the upside. But for me, for gold to be extremely bearish, we would need to break 1676. Then I could see gold continuing to push down long term. So for the week, I'm bullish for gold to pull back up into these levels here for us to see potential downside moves, because again, we are starting a bearish trend. See, the market is still in a bearish trend. She's still below this trend line on the higher time frame. On the daily, we did have this trend line breach here. So we did have a trend here. She broke to the upside. She moved a nice little ways to the upside. She found a rejection before she got back to these highs, so we could not get higher. That is our newfound lower high, and then the market rejected off of that. So we could see the market push back here potentially this week, then continue to find lows, or we could just collapse off of this low here, which is a major level of support. This is the old resistance again that I already mentioned. Double bottomed, found resistance, broke that resistance after the retest of this trend, pushed up, could not get back into these highs. Now we found major support at this old resistance. Old resistance is new support, so we could rally off of this support. If we rally off of this support, then again with the fibs, if we rally again off this support with the fibs, then we have the fibs lining up with these target levels for a good swing trade to the upside to continue rallying to upside. Gold push the upside and we test these highs. Me personally, I could see gold going to 2,500, 3,000 per ounce if we reach these highs here. Right now, we are still, in a little squeeze to the downside, but overall, we are bullish on the highest 2 time frames. So that's my analysis for the week. I see gold rallying up to at least these levels. We have this 38.2, which will be a good reversal area for the fibs. 23.6 would also be a good reversal area for continued down push on this move. But you can see we are getting some good bullish momentum here. I would want to see, like I said, price breach this lower time frame. Probably going to hit this range in the day. If we break through it, then I would say price will go up to this level here. So we get a push from here to there. That's a nice little move here. 359 pips. So for the weekly move, I am, bullish to extend back into these areas, and then from there we could get back bearish. But right now, I just see this major level of support holding, and we push and go from here to at least find some of this areas of price here before gold continues to rally down. Again, we still have this H1 trends. We have this micro trend here and this macro trend here on the H1. We can get price to push up here, collapse, or we can get into here, which is a level of broken support resistance. We can double top here at this old support off of this major push to the downside, and then we could collapse there. But that's my overall bias, my overall analysis from every time frame, down and up. Potential areas where gold could go find resting places for profit taking, and areas to potentially find entries into the trend reversing to move back to the upside, or us to find areas of where we can get into potential sales here to continue to ride this thing on down to the downside to hit these target areas of 1676, and if she breached there, longer target areas on the weekly time frame 1451, as I already mentioned. But I am bullish right now. Again, for this week, we will see how it pans out, but you have to be able to look at the market both ways. Can't just have one bias. So the market is, again, bearish on the daily time frame. Right now, we're in a bearish move. We did have this bullish push, but we created a new lower high off of this push to the upside. We have this major trend now, 1-2 running through. The market has pushed down into a major area of support. We could find a rally here. Again, I know I'm just repeating this over and over again, but this is how you have to keep going back in and digesting things over and over and over again, so you can just sear them into your brain, know what you're looking for, and you do not make a move. You sit on your hands until the market shows you what it's going to do, because if we breach this area here, we'll have broken this small micro trend, then we can find an entry here to find a TP area here. If we break this trend here on this entry, we can hold to these levels here, as TP1, TP2s, and TP3s could be in effect to push back into this price. Or if we get a sell-off here, I've already mentioned the next level would be around, you can just see where it is, 1720. 1720 would be a good profit level if we break these lows. 1720, if we break that, then 1676, as mentioned earlier in the video. So that's my weekly analysis on gold, man. If you're a gold trader, I applaud you. I trade gold. She a monster, but she can make you beautiful profits if you dial into her. My suggestion is trade her on the higher time frame, the H4. You can see everything clearly on the H4. And then you use the 1 hour down to the 15-minute to scale in to see more, dialed in visuals of where the trade is going. After she shows you on the overall time frame, you dial it in to go find your entries. I use the 15-minute for entries, 30 minutes sometime for entries on gold, and they work out perfectly that way. But I use the 4 hour to do my overall analysis because she is clear on the higher time frames. So again, that's my weekly analysis on gold. Let's get to it this week, guys. Happy trading.